Time for the Activate Devotion. Asante sana for your time, and you can catch us live as well, Hope FM Live. That's on our social media platforms, that is Hope FM specifically, and you can catch us live there. And we are reading from the book of Mark chapter 5 verse 35 to 43. That is Mark chapter 5 verse 35 down or through to the end. While Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. "Your daughter is dead," they said. "Why bother the teacher anymore?" Overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. After he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this time, they were completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this and told them to give her something to eat, and that is the miracle that Jesus performed, raising the daughter, that is Jairus' daughter. And looking at all this situation and what was happening, Jesus, as he was speaking, and these people came and they told Jairus of what was happening back at home. And when this was happening, the people who had come to relay the information was actually people who were telling Jairus not to even bother Jesus Christ, not to bother him, because already the daughter had died. Already there is nothing to them. There is nothing that could have been done because the daughter was already dead. So it was a case of why even bother the teacher? Why even bother Jesus Christ? After all, even if he was to come, there is nothing that he will be able to do, because you know what? Your daughter is already dead, so don't even try to bother the teacher. And I love it because this message was targeting Jairus. But if you go to verse number 36, the Bible says that overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, "Don't be afraid, just believe." So even when Jesus was doing what else he was doing, remember, he had actually healed this lady who had the issue of the blood, the woman who had the issue of the blood. But still, when he was still doing whatever he was doing, he still could be able to hear and overhear what they were telling Jairus. And when he overheard what they were saying to Jairus, he looked at Jairus and, he told him, "You know what? Don't be afraid. Just believe. Do not be afraid. Yes, your daughter, chances are, yes, they could be telling you the truth that your daughter is dead. Yes, this could be happening. Yes, this is the fact. Yes, this is what is currently happening in your life and actually happening in your family. But you know what? Don't be afraid. Just believe." The verse number 37 goes on and says, "He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. And when they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jairus, Jesus saw a commotion. People were crying, people were wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, 'Why all this commotion? Why all this wailing?' And he told them, 'The child is not dead, but he is asleep.' And of course, we know the Bible recording that they laughed at him. And of course, he told them, 'All of you get out.' And he took the child's father, the mother, and the disciples who were with him, went in, and he did what he had to do, because he's the miracle working God. And this is just because Jairus obeyed what Jesus had told him. Verse number 36, overhearing what they had said, Jesus told Jairus not to be afraid, but to instead to believe. And that is what Jairus decided to do. Not to be afraid, but to believe in what Jesus Christ was telling him. And you know what? Even us as believers, even us as human beings, we go through situations, and for this one, it was coming closer. It was coming from very close people, because these were people who are coming from his own house, coming to tell him, your daughter is dead. And at times, these are the things that are happening to us, coming from within. When these things are coming from within your heart, within your mind, within your soul, within you, the people that are around you, your family members, those are the people that are bringing in the bad reports. These are the people that are bringing in the negativity, the toxicity. And this morning, Jesus is overhearing everything that they are telling you, everything that your neighbor is telling you, everything that your relatives are telling you, everything the people from your own house, what they are telling you. Jesus Christ is saying, you know what? I have overheard what they have said. I have overheard what the doctor is saying. I have overheard what your manager is telling you. I have overheard the report that you have just received this morning. I have overheard what you received last night. Nation of Kenya, I've overheard what is happening in your nation. I've overheard, and also I have seen what is happening in your own country. But Jesus is telling you this morning, Jesus is telling us this morning, you know what? Don't be afraid. Just believe. And that is what the challenge and the challenge that is being brought to us this morning, not to be afraid, but instead to believe. The report is saying that the sickness is in your body. The sickness is too much. The pain is too much. That is what the body is telling you. Yes, you are lacking. You are sending your daughter, you are sending your son to school, but you have not cleared your school fees. Yes, that is the reality. That is the fact. And people are laughing. How can they be able to send their children to school, yet they have not paid the school fees? How can they be able to leave, yet the report of the doctor is saying 1, 2, 3? Yes, you are telling them, but I am believing because my Jesus is telling me to believe. Yes, I will be able to live because my Redeemer is living. Yes, I'll be able to live because the one who is in me is greater than the one who is in this world. Yes, I will not be afraid, but I will believe, because it's not by might, it's not by power, but it is by it's not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit of God. Yes, I will believe because he who has begun a good thing in me, he is able to bring it to completion. So this morning, do not be afraid, do not be intimidated, because the one who is in you is telling you, my daughter, my son, do not be afraid. Just believe. So as you go out today, as you are attacking the day, don't be afraid. Don't listen to any other voice, because there is a voice that is able to silence everything else, silence the raging storms in your life. And this is Jesus. He's telling you, my daughter, my son, I've overheard what they have said. Don't be afraid. Just believe. In